Have you ever come across some verses in the Bible about food sacrifices and you're like, what the heck is going on here? Doesn't this seem kind of weird? Well, when I actually thought through this, I realized there's something that you and I do that is actually kind of similar to what they were doing, and it can help us understand these verses. So let's talk through it. Alright, so recently I was reading Genesis 4, the story of Cain and Abel, and at the beginning of the story, Abel is giving a food offering to God. So he brings a ram, and it represents the best thing that he can give God. Why is he doing this? It's not like God's actually going to eat this. So what is going on here? Well, ancient people, regardless of their religion, all of the ancient Near Eastern religions believed that when they gave a food offering, they were actually sharing a meal with their God. So if you think about it that way, Abel actually believes that he's sharing a meal with God. So he's making the best thing that he knows how to make and giving that to God. What does the meal represent? In their culture, a meal represented a relationship. It represented intimacy. I mean, it was a very intimate thing to have somebody over at your house or your tent and to eat with them and just talk about life and share what you have with them. Isn't it kind of weird though, and kind of silly to make this meal for God when he's not there physically to eat it? Well, here's the silly thing that we do that actually is kind of a meaningful thing. Have you ever gone to a gravesite and you laid flowers on a grave? And you know that that person's not actually able to smell the flowers or pick them up and hold them or see how beautiful they are. But you do it anyways, right? As a way to remember them or respect them or to say, hey, I miss you. I still have this connection to you even though you're gone. But what about in a movie? Or maybe you've done this yourself. You go to a gravesite and you pop open a beer or a whiskey or a person's favorite drink and you pour it on their grave to remember them or remember something you did together, like share a drink together when they were alive. They're not really able to drink that drink, but you do it anyways, and it's meaningful, right? I think that's the same concept here with the food offerings. So people are making the best dish they know how to make as a way to say, hey, God, I want to be connected to you and have this relationship with you, even though you're not physically here anymore. There's another layer to this. If you think about it, Cain and Abel are like the second generation of humans. Well, the first generation of humans, Adam and Eve, they lived in the Garden of Eden with God, so they were actually physically there with God, and they had to eat, so odds are they probably ate with God, right? Or ate in front of God and shared this face-to-face relationship. But when they leave the garden, they're no longer there to share a meal with God, but it seems they kept up this practice of making a food offering to kind of keep the idea of having a meal with God going, even though they weren't physically there with him, just like we continue to visit graves and leave flowers there. There are some other types of offerings and sacrifices in the Bible, but that's for a whole nother video. I hope this helped you kind of make sense out of this weird, archaic concept of food offerings, and maybe make a little more sense, be a little more relatable. It's kind of all about a relationship. If you have questions or comments, leave them below, and I will see you again soon.